By 1915, Tesla had gone bankrupt and could no longer maintain the Wardenclyffe property. In 1917, the tower was demolished and sold for scrap. This would spell the end of the project. The same thing might be applicable to the Great Pyramid. What if it suffered some catastrophic event that caused it to stop working? Apart from the hydrochloric acid, there are also traces of sulfuric acid in the southern shaft, while zinc chloride and ammonium chloride were discovered in the northern shaft. These chemicals are capable of creating hydrogen even when they are not being mixed. However, if you combine ammonium chloride with sulfuric acid, you will get an explosion. Considering the structure of the pyramid, the explosion was probably controllable. In 2001, scorch marks were discovered in the Grand Gallery in the ceiling above the original location of the resonators. Also, there were cracks in the granite beams on the southeastern ceiling of the King's Chamber. Egyptologists explained that the cracks were a result of an earthquake, but the damage only seemed to have occurred in areas of the pyramid where there was a flow of highly compressed, heated hydrogen. Apart from this, the walls of the King's Chamber also separated from the floor and appear to bulge out. This indicates that an explosion might have acted upon them. Similar damage has occurred to the steps of the chamber and other parts of the interior. The southern shaft was discovered to have been coated with salt about an inch thick, the likelihood that hydrogen was boiling and bubbling up the shaft. Initially, it was thought that an earthquake caused the explosion, but engineer Christopher Dunn ruled out the thought. He suggested that a cataclysmic event may have occurred in the pyramid, eroding the structure as an active power plant. The theory is yet to be established, though. Ancient Egyptians are known to have been great record keepers. However, there doesn't seem to be any record of any cataclysmic event during the time of constructing the pyramid. Dunn believes the event occurred thousands of years earlier. But come to think of it, if Egyptians were known to keep records, there would be documentation of how they used electricity. There are indications that suggest that ancient Egyptians used electricity. Many would point to glyphs that look like light bulbs, but we may be forced to overrule the possibility since there was no evidence that they worked with glass or any components used in making light bulbs. With or without evidence, there is no doubt that the Egyptians actually built the Great Pyramids in 4500 BC. But what if the Egyptians didn't actually build the pyramid, and it was just a dormant structure found by them? This brings us to the Orion constellation theory, as proposed by Graham Hancock. According to the theory, the Great Pyramid complex is almost a match for the stars in the Orion constellation. So do the Egyptian pyramids actually line up with the stars? On the surface, it may be plausible. This is because the ancient Egyptians tracked the night sky closely to determine when to plant crops and harvest, and we have discussed the obsession of the builders with equinoxes. But because the pyramids were built during a period known as the Old Kingdom of Ancient Egypt, any relationship they had with the night sky would have to match the appearance of the heavens some 4,500 years ago. Also, some clues suggest that the pyramids and the Sphinx have existed for time immemorial. Robert Schoch from Boston University believes that Sphinx and Giza are about 13,500 years old. But while Giza has been built in an extremely dry climate since the time of the pharaohs, the Sphinx dates back to a period when the climate had more rain. This is because the latter shows signs of erosion caused by wind, sand, and water. The erosion patterns around the Sphinx base indicate that huge volumes of water were washing over the plateau at violent speeds. This was evident at the end of the last ice age in 9700 BC. Glaciers had melted rapidly, and sea levels rose 500 feet within a few centuries. At that time, most humans died, and the few that survived took shelter in caves. Now think of the effects that water with such rushing speed and pressure would have on stone constructions like the Sphinx and pyramids. Meanwhile, a sky full of plasma, lightning, and radiation would have caused serious damage to the Great Pyramid if it had used a volatile chemical reaction to create power. We're not saying that the whole event told here really happened. However, we can assume that an advanced civilization existed thousands of years ago. Also, the civilization had the technology to create unlimited clean energy. But the most interesting part of the mystery is how science is beginning to change our perception of the universe. Tesla was right after all. All the major ancient landmarks reveal evidence of electromagnetic energy. They harnessed energy from the ionosphere to create technologies that we could only dream of having. Think of how clean, renewable energy will make life safer for humans. Tesla intended to make power free and accessible for everyone, especially to the remotest, least developed parts of the world. If he had succeeded, the vast empires of J.P. Morgan that produce most of the technologies we use today would have long gone into extinction. Unfortunately, the clean energy we need now died with Tesla as the world took a different route that poses more danger to us. It was the route of fossil fuels, of coal and oil. But do you think Nikola Tesla is worth all the attention and accolades he is getting today? How would his incredible inventions and ideas have affected the world if they hadn't have died with him?